And if you remember, the Orioles, we purchased a player contract and put them on the DL so it would make a larger pool for us to choose from for the playoffs. In the offseason, they expanded the player pool eligibility to include all the members of your 40-man roster, plus all the players that are on the disabled list, including the 15 and the 60 days. So you can choose from all the players on your 40-man roster now, and then you can replace any player that's on the disabled list with a healthy player for the playoffs. So in effect, everyone is eligible that's in your organization as long as you have some players on the disabled list who you can replace with other players for your postseason roster. So it gives teams a little bit more flexibility, and it gives you a little bit larger player pool from which to choose your playoff roster.
Now, if you make it into the playoffs, you have to designate the 25-man before the beginning of each series that you may be in, right?
Right. Each series you have a roster date where you have to set your roster for the start of that series. You choose from your player pool of all the eligible players, and then if you have a serious injury, you can replace a player, but not until the next round. You'd have to get special permission from the commissioner's office to do more than that. But you do get a chance to replace those players for the next round, and each round you get a chance to put the best roster you can out there for that series.
Do you like, I mean, obviously you like the new rule. It creates a lot more player movement for you, though, does it not?
Well, you get a little bit more flexibility. You get a little bit larger pool from which to choose, not just the 25-man, but the 40-man for the playoff. So if we had a young ball player that was doing really well and say one of our veteran players got hurt, then we could put him in for the first series. Last year would have been very hard to do that.
Now, clubs that aren't in it generally have larger call-ups here in September because they want to take a look at as many players as they can. Buck has talked about having a rule where you can call up how many ever you want, but before each series, now we're talking about here in the regular season, before each series you have to designate 25, 28 players who would be eligible to play in that series. Then the next series you can change it if you want. What do you think?
Well, as it stands now, if you call up 33 players and the other team calls up 30 players, you have all 33 players from which to choose from for the game. So you can create a little bit of uneven playing field by having more players on your roster in September, and a lot of teams will do that. We have 33 now on our roster, so we have a significant player pool from which to choose. The games go a little bit longer in September. In the minor leagues, sometimes in rookie ball, yeah, we're trying to shorten the games, but by expanding the roster, it makes for a longer game. But in rookie ball, you can have like a 30-man player pool from which to choose from, and you can designate 25, and those 25 are on your roster today. That does make some sense by leveling the playing field during September. Major League Baseball has given that some consideration, but so far you can choose from all the players on your 40-man roster that you bring up to play.
And you wouldn't, I mean, the union wouldn't, I would think, not be opposed to that, because you're going to give, for all those players, say you got 33, they're all going to get Major League time for the time they're up, even if they're not on the 25-man roster for a particular series,
well,
right?
They get Major League salary and they get Major League time. Now, the owners might not go for that. They might say, well, if you're designated, you get the service. If you're designated to play that day, you get the service. But anyway, that's the way it stands now. The good news is there's more players from which to choose to make your most competitive roster.
All right, you brought up a point. Let me ask you this, because it's been talked about much this season. The length of game. Length of game has become a matter of discussion now within Major League Baseball, not just without, and including New York and the front office. What do you think? Is that going to go anywhere? Is there anything you can do?
Well, I think our fans are telling us they want a more fast-paced game. If you look at all the fans that are following baseball, we're having trouble recruiting some of the younger fans because they're going for the more fast-paced games, the more action games. So to the extent that we can make our game more interesting and quicker, I think we'll attract more young fans, which would be the future or the lifeblood of the game. So I'm all in favor of speeding up the game. I think it makes for a better played game if the pitcher doesn't take a lot of time in between pitches, if the batters are ready to hit without stepping out of the batter's box. I think you can pick up some time there. I think we could pick up some time by being more efficient in our challenges. That's a new system, and I think that should get quicker and better and make for a better product for the fans. But the fans are really calling for a quicker entertainment value for their money.
All right, let me ask you this. Baseball, those of you longtime baseball fans, you can plug your ears or just cringe when I say it. I'm not advocating this, by the way. In football, you got a clock, and you got so much time to get the snap, or whistle blows and you have a penalty. Would you put a clock in a baseball field for a pitcher to have to throw, or it's a ball?
Well, we get these reports from the central office for the amount of time taken in between pitches by all of our pitchers. So they're acutely aware of it. We've also get a time of how much time it takes for our pitchers to get into the game from the bullpen, which I think all clubs really could do a better job on. As far as enforcing with a sanction during the game, I think that would definitely speed it up. There's no question about that. And if you do speed it up and you get these players into these habits, I think you have a better ball game for the fan to watch.
All right. Don't want to hold you here forever, but thanks for doing this for us. Let's talk. Let me talk about the year. I do want to ask you this, though. This has been an incredible season, and to your credit, you've done a magnificent job of finding people who can play this game when some of your stars you expected to have are out. I mean, are you surprised at how well this team has done in light of significant injuries that it's gone through this year?
Well, I think that's a testament to the whole organization. But like I've said this before, to lose your catcher during the season and to remain competitive and do well, that's a big challenge, and I've never been able to do that. That's a testament to the depth of the organization. To be able to go out and have Caleb Joseph step up, and then to be able to coordinate that with the coaches and the manager with all the pitchers that we have, and then to have Nick Hundley come here and show veteran leadership, that was a key addition to our team, both those guys. And since they've been up and hitting, those are the games that we really excel, when they contribute offensively. They've been doing a great job defensively and with the pitchers. But I think that's a testament to everyone, the pitching coaches, Dave Wallace, Dom Cheedy, John Russell, Buck, all the pitchers, and the catchers themselves, to be able to step up and to do the job in such an important role. I mean, that just says a lot about those individuals and our ability to work as an organization together, to have good scouting like Dave Engel recommended Hundley. Brady Anderson was a big advocate of Caleb Joseph. And when those guys came up and came to the team, we didn't know what was going to happen, but the team has been able to excel. And, that's really a tribute to them. Having depth in your organization always helps. We've done a nice job with our player development to have players ready to fill in. Jimmy Paredes came up and he made a contribution. Steve Pierce, he has really added depth to the organization and really saved us at a number of positions this year. So we got to be thankful for his contribution. And Chris Davis' willingness to play third base when Manny went out, I think that shows the drive and the moxie of the players to do whatever it takes to win a game that day.
All right. You're from New England, so you know what moxie means. We'll let the other people worry about. Dan, thank you very much. A great job this season.